Jonesy and Amanda.
Jam Nation.
When I heard of the shark attack on Mercury Psillakis at Long Reef Beach, there were so many emotions that came up. Firstly, like what a tragedy to happen to him, but also when something like that happens, you think, well, I spent a lot of time in the surf and I've never really thought about shark attack. It's just
because this is a beach where you don't expect.
Well,
that to
and
happen,
that's the thing, because it happened at Long Reef. Sometimes when you hear about shark attacks, it's over in Western Australia or those sharky areas in South Australia, or even right up north. You don't think it's going to be happening in our environs. And when you look at Long Reef to Cronulla, I'm always at Cronulla, but I just,
But there were shark nets too. I know shark nets have been in the news lately.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of talk about removing shark nets and whether they do
more harm than good.
Well, because they get sea turtles and they get seals and they get everything else. It's a big catchment area, but also they stopped hunting sharks a long time ago. We used to kill them all the time, and things have changed. There's more people in the water
and cleaner water.
Yeah, and this doesn't help out Mercury's family in any way.
Not.
And that just, that's the thing. I remember being at Cronulla Point some years ago, and I was with a mate. We were both on our stand-up boards, and it was just the two of us. And he said, "What was that?" And I said, "Oh, no, it's just a dolphin." And then I saw the dorsal, and I went, "Oh, no, that's not a dolphin. That's a shark." And it was a great white shark. It was a fairly large shark. And I remember thinking, "Jeepers."
Is that what it was?
Well, that's what they're saying. It was yeah. And I don't want to go into any details about it because it's so distressing. But on Sunday I usually go out for a surf, and I actually didn't go into the sea. I went for a paddle just in the bay because I just thought, I don't know, it really scared. I've never been spooked by it before, and and that's the stuff that breaks your heart. You think, oh God, And like I do too many risky things in my life as it is. And I thought, well,
But the idea too about shark nets, and this has been in the news, and Chris Minns has said, because they were talking about removing them, he said, well, let's stop that program
and
right
Minzy
now.
once again is showing great leadership.
In saying, what, let's keep them in place. This has spooked a lot of people. There was a shark net there though, wasn't there?
Yeah. So there's a giant shark net at Long Reef. So it's 150 metres long. And it's about 6 metres in depth. And then they sink that down to like 10 to 12 metres of water.
So we don't know
within
how
500
many
metres
sharks
of the
it
shore.
stops, do we?
We don't know. And then there's drum lines, which pretty much kill the shark. So and I've heard stories from the Bondi lifeguards about they've got they use Rio bar to put the bait on and they've spoken about how the Rio bar is bent straight from the shark that's ripped that off. So we're living in their world. Having said that, though, in the bad days of the 60s and 70s, they used to just go and cull sharks. They'd kill millions and millions of them.
Yeah, I don't think people want to see that.
Well, and that's the thing. And every year, like last year, we had a pub test about removing shark nets. And this is what the reaction was back then.
I don't think shark nets pass the pub test. Look, they take other creatures out. I was a coogee and a turtle got stuck in it. The sharks can go under, the sharks can go over. Look, you got to take your chances. You're going in the water. There's millions of people in the water every day. So I don't think they pass the pub test. Nah, get rid of them.
I reckon they're good if they're to save people's lives. I think people will care more about people's family rather than a couple of sharks dying here and there.
I think we should be educating the public on where to be when we swim rather than trying to slow down sharks in their natural habitat. Things like don't swim at dawn and dusk right out the back, and don't swim after heavy rain because it's incredibly murky at that time, so it's prime hunting conditions. And I feel like we should be educating people rather than trying to kill sharks.
It's a primal fear, and rightly so.
It is.
Coming up next, we're going to speak to someone who actually has been attacked by a shark, but he has thoughts on maybe other ways that we can deter sharks and whether shark nets are going to work.